gonna be, they're gonna be, they're gonna be, they're gonna be. They're gonna be, they're gonna be, they're gonna be. They're gonna be so true, kind of weaving. I kind of living into blue. There's a woman, there's a Lord then. They're gonna be so pure, kind of breathing into more and more into this room and breathing. That all comes through. They're gonna be so true, kind of weaving. I kind of living into blue. There's a woman, there's a Lord then. They're gonna be so pure, kind of breathing into more and more into this room and breathing. That all comes through. So true, kind of weaving, kind of living to blue. There's a woman, there's a Lord then. They're gonna be so pure, kind of breathing into more and more into this room and breathing.
How cool was that? Welcome to the MAX Creativity Tour. My name is Simon Morris. I want to extend a very, very warm welcome to all of you here in the audience, as well as those of you tuning in to our live stream from your home. I can't think of a more fitting venue to host this creative event, and I'm thrilled that you've decided to join us here this evening. Tonight, we've got so much in store for you. We're bringing together some of the UK's most creative minds for an evening of inspirational talks, presentations, and demos. It's the fantastic lineup, which includes our very own Creative Cloud Evangelist, Rufus Deuchler. Joining Rufus on stage this evening will be illustrator Octavia Bromell. We also have the creative minds behind this year's McDonald's Christmas advert from Leo Burnett and Passion Animation Studios, a few fans out there. And finally, one of the UK's most inspirational young entrepreneurs, Jamal Edwards MBE, who's going to be interviewed on stage by Adobe's very own Claire Darley. If that wasn't enough, we'll also be giving all of you, here in London that is, the chance to experience our new products and apps for yourselves in the creative spaces you'll see dotted around the venue. We'll be tweeting live throughout the event from our Adobe UK Twitter handle, so please do join in the conversation using the hashtag #MaxCreativityTour. Max is the opportunity for us to connect as a community, to celebrate innovation, to be inspired by each other's stories, and to take creativity to the next level. It's about creating the future, and it's also about celebrating where we've been. Let me kick off that celebration with some incredibly exciting and exclusive news. On behalf of Adobe, I'm delighted to announce that the world's largest creativity conference, MAX, is coming to Europe in 2020. That's right. We're thrilled to give the creative community across Europe a unique opportunity to come together to learn, to share ideas, get inspired, and celebrate creativity. MAX Europe will take place on the 15th to the 16th of June at the Feira Internacional in Lisbon. Please do all save the date. When we launched Creative Cloud, our vision was to reimagine the creative process, providing new capabilities continuously and enabling you to create wherever inspiration strikes. We've delivered thousands of updates to our flagship apps, launched new products like Adobe XD, and integrated services such as Adobe Stock, Photoshop brushes, and Adobe fonts. We've taken a radical new approach to delivering products across multiple devices, and Lightroom, designed by a photographer for photographers, is now a multi-surface system. We've reimagined the role of mobile devices in creativity, and Adobe Scan is truly PDF creation for the mobile era. And with drawing being so fundamental to developing creative literacy, it's impossible not to get excited when you see fresco in action, making drawing and painting come to life on a tablet. But we aren't resting on our laurels. This evening is all about sharing with all of you the next generation of innovation from Adobe. Our mission is simple and powerful. We want to change the world through digital experiences. It's this purpose that's guided everything we do for more than 3 decades. With Creative Cloud, we're unleashing creativity, giving anyone, anywhere the tools to express themselves. With Adobe Document Cloud, we're accelerating document productivity, enabling people and organizations to collaborate and transact business through PDFs. And with Adobe Experience Cloud, we're powering digital businesses of all sizes, helping them design and deliver engaging customer experiences. All of Adobe's 22,000 employees have a singular focus on empowering everyone to create experiences that inspire, to transform industries, and move the world forward. Our CEO, Shantanu Narayan, talks about us living in the golden age of creativity, and I completely agree. Storytelling has never been more rich thanks to the innate desire to communicate and the power of digital technology. It's the foundation of our arts and culture. It's critical to education and entertainment. It powers societal change and drives economic progress and breakthroughs. Because it doesn't matter if you're a designer, an engineer, a student, or a business owner, creativity is a fundamental skill. And at that core, creativity is about making emotional connections. Let's take Shakespeare as an example. I'm sure all of you would have studied Shakespeare at school, and it probably brings back all sorts of emotions, some positive, perhaps some not so positive. But we believe that every experience with Shakespeare should be a positive one. We did some research that found that young people were really struggling to connect with the complex text in Shakespeare's plays. So we thought an added level of creativity could really boost the way that people engage with this incredible body of work. We partnered with the Royal Shakespeare Company to help young people experience Shakespeare in a totally different way, while encouraging the development of essential creative skills that they'll need for their future careers. We worked with 5 UK-based artists, including one of our Adobe Creative residents, to add a different dynamic to his most popular work. They completely reimagined Shakespeare for the 21st century by transposing iconic scenes from Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth into the modern era, using photo, animation, and drawings, ensuring that our most profound work of literature remains relevant and cherished by the next generation by creating that emotional connection through mediums they're used to engaging with. Amazing things happen at the intersection of imagination and technology. As I think about Adobe's role shaping the coming decades of creativity, there are a few themes that guide our vision. We need to empower all voices, from creative professionals to students, office workers to teachers. We need to make accessible the power of rich media so that anyone can tell their story. We're pushing the boundaries of technology to give you new ways to express your vision. Voice, AR, VR, 3D, screen design, photography, illustration. We're innovating to make the world your canvas. We're accelerating productivity for individuals and teams. We know that creators don't work in isolation, and the creative process involves multiple people across an organization. We want you to be more productive, and with assets now automatically stored in the cloud, you can create and collaborate wherever and whenever inspiration strikes. And we're putting Adobe Magic to work through Sensei. We're harnessing the power of hundreds of millions of assets in Creative Cloud and learning from the millions who use our products every day to power our machine learning and AI, helping you work faster and smarter than ever before. AI is fundamentally transforming computing in powerful ways, and we see its potential to amplify human creativity, not to replace it. As a company, we're guided by core principles of responsibility, transparency, and accountability to enable the thoughtful deployment of technology in our products and understand the impact they have on society. But more than technology, the real reason for this gathering is our commitment to this movement. One of the best things about Creative Cloud is that it's enabled us to have an ongoing relationship with all of you. And it's your engagement and passion that's helped shape our product vision. Your participation is invaluable to our product innovation, so thank you. And it's just amazing to see how you're teaching and inspiring others through your active engagement on Behance, which is now a community of more than 18 million members. You continue to inspire us through your creativity, your ingenuity, and your imagination. And so we put together our own small tribute to celebrate our community. Let's roll the video.
We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
The golden age of creativity may be... Yeah, let's have a round of applause. What a beautiful video. Thank you. The golden age of creativity may be aided by technology, but it's only made possible by you, the creators. You have vision, you dream big, and we're privileged to be a part of what you do. Thank you for being here tonight, being part of our family, and inspiring us to do our best work. We can create a place that's more beautiful, more colorful, and together we can change the world. And now it gives me great pleasure to welcome onto stage our principal Creative Cloud Evangelist, Rufus Deuchler. Rufus.
All right. Whoa, hello everyone. How many of you were here last year at the Back from Max event? Woo, all right. Well, a lot has happened during this year. And first of all, thank you to Simon for this great introduction about our vision of, that we have at Adobe. And thank you for all of you here at Tate Modern tonight in person, and all of you in the cameras watching from home. So welcome to the Max Creativity Tour. What I wanted to talk about a little bit today was my impressions of Max and what I brought back from Max and what we actually, all the things that we presented at Max. And maybe we can go to my slides now. And yes, my name is Rufus, and I work on the Creative Cloud community team, which sounds much better than the title that Simon used just now, Principal Worldwide Evangelist. Anyway, I work on the Creative Cloud team. And as I love Adobe MAX, because as Simon mentioned, it's a tremendous opportunity for our incredible global creative community to come together and share ideas, learn from each other, and get inspired. And above all, celebrate creativity itself. So the last event was held in Los Angeles just a few weeks ago, and we welcomed over 15,000 attendees, or creators, or people who are, it's not necessarily designers, it's people who create. And over a million watched the MAX keynotes online. And these people came from 62 countries across the globe. And that's a picture from the concert, from the Bash. That's the big party that we have at MAX. And there I'm really counting on Simon to have a similar kind of party in Lisbon in the summer. Yeah, this was the view from the stage from the Vampire Weekend concert. That was pretty cool. So let me talk a little bit about the importance of creativity today. So for centuries, the key to prosperity for individuals, companies, and economies has been to become more productive, okay? All we were asked to do was to become more productive. In future, this is all changing because we will succeed only by being more creative. Creativity cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. And with creativity becoming a fundamental skill, we are truly designing our solutions to empower you to start creating fast, to easily collaborate within teams, classroom projects, organizations, and to do so anywhere at any time. So since MAX last year, where we've announced a lot of new features a year ago, we've been actually laser focused on doing just that, to increase the breadth and the value of Creative Cloud. And to us, value are mainly three areas. First of all, providing you with the applications that allow you to create what you can imagine. Then, also providing you the resources you need to create projects, to put your ideas to life. And also building a community team, from which you can learn, share, and be inspired. So let's talk about these areas in turn. On the application side, in the past year, we've shipped many new features across the Creative Cloud, including the award-winning artificial intelligence-powered or Adobe Sensei-powered. You're going to hear me say that a lot, Adobe Sensei, okay? Translated into artificial intelligence. The content-aware fill for video, for example, which, we have that in Photoshop, but now you can do that in video and After Effects. Or the powerful new texture slider in Lightroom. That's also AI-powered, and that allows you to make your images sharper. And just a few weeks ago, we finished rolling out a completely redesigned Creative Cloud desktop app. All of you have seen it. Like, it's not inside of the little button at the top of your menus up there. It's now a real app running on your computer. And what we wanted to do is provide you with a familiar and intuitive way to access Creative Cloud apps, to update them, and also to discover all of the other apps that may complement or extend your creativity. And it's also a great place to actually find, organize, manage, and share creative assets or your Creative Cloud libraries with other users or your collaborators. And also to learn through access to a great number of tutorials that are inside of this Creative Cloud experience. And finally, this year, we've also released a brand new painting application called Adobe Fresco. We're going to have Octavia show us a little bit how that works in a second. And we released that on the iPad. And we also brought Premiere Rush to Android, okay? Because that's always the question. Okay, you always do stuff for iPad. When for Android? Well, we always do, okay? Eventually. On the resources side, what we want to do is provide you with the very best ingredients for whichever projects you have in mind and make them available to you wherever you need them and whenever you need them. Adobe Stock now offers more than 180 million assets, including images, templates for InDesign, for example, 3D assets, 13 million stock videos assets as well, which, stock video is very important, like make buffers, like inside of the videos, like have some, some little bits and pieces to put in your videos. And we have over 1 million premium collection images, okay? This is the upscale of normal stock photography. And we also continue to provide more than 17,000 fonts through Adobe Fonts. And in future, access to those fonts will be expanded to iOS. So you will be able to use those fonts on your iOS devices. And we also recently revamped Adobe Color. Okay? Just when you think nobody cares about Adobe Color, you know, they're abandoning us. No. We always rethink, okay, what's going to be helpful? How do you use color? What's useful? And so there's a brand new Adobe Color experience for you to enjoy. As far as community, it continues to grow steadily. As Simon mentioned, Behance is now over 18 million members. That's a large amount of creatives all around the globe. And nearly 1 million of those viewers have watched Adobe Live. How many of you watch Adobe Live? OK. Adobe Live is so cool because you get to watch over the shoulders of creative professionals working live and ask questions and have that on, just like the radio, and listen to people talk about creativity and do stuff. It's really cool. It's called Adobe Live, and it's on Behance. And most users watch an average of 1 hour per show. Okay, shows can vary in length, but that's a huge amount of hours in the YouTube world. And soon we will be delivering the ability to live stream work directly from our tools. Just the same way that gamers do from games, you guys will be able to stream while you're doing a Photoshop edit or painting something in Fresco. Okay? And this is also going to be a service of the Creative Cloud inside of Behance. And finally, our second annual Interaction Design Day inspired over 100 events across the globe. And last year, we also celebrated the 20th anniversary of InDesign. Who was there at the very beginning of InDesign? OK, the crowd is getting younger. I like that. I was there. So let's dive into the key themes for Adobe MAX. First, we continue to invest in making your apps faster, more powerful, and more reliable. Next, we also seek to empower you guys to create anywhere, anytime, and with anyone, with tools like Photoshop on the iPad, Adobe XD, or Adobe Fresco. And third, we are building new tools to allow our users to explore new frontiers, to try out new things with applications like Adobe Aero. And finally, while it's not necessarily a theme, you can always see Adobe Sensei somewhere on these slides. And we continue to incorporate cutting-edge innovation with Adobe Sensei, our artificial intelligence platform. And this is at the center of everything we do at Adobe now. So let's take a look at our first theme. All of our MAX 2019 releases have gone through substantial input from the creative community to ensure that we're delivering the right tools, that we're delivering the systems that you creatives will actually be using and that you can rely on every single day. So from discussions on social media to conversations at events such as this one, from customer meetings to media feedback, we hear feedback, and we hear it loud and clear, and then we incorporate that feedback. So what you're seeing here are just a handful of these examples across our apps focused on improvements around power, speed, and reliability. You know, little things like InDesign loading 50% faster, for example. Okay? These are small things, but you know, it's important that these things get addressed. At MAX, we've introduced a lot of updates and new features across our flagship products. And while I can't cover all of them today, I'm going to highlight several key updates so that you can actually see and feel the breadth of what we've announced. Some of these will be showing also very shortly with some live demonstrations. So let's start with design and layout. New Photoshop features on the desktop, for example, include content-aware fill enhancements or the new object selection tool. Have you tried the object selection tool? It's crazy. Yeah. You're going to see it. Those of you who haven't seen it, you're going to experience it in just a second. And we also have a brand new presets panel. In Illustrator, new features include path simplification. Okay, we all know these very complex Bezier paths with lots of gazillion points. Well, Illustrator can now take those elements and reduce the number of points necessary to create the path and simplify it. We've also auto spell check, selective unlock, gradients in CC libraries, and free distort in Illustrator. For InDesign, on the other hand, we've added support for SVG. You can now import scalable vector graphics into InDesign and use those to export to EPUB or other things that, that use SVG. We have column rules and text frames, and also variable font support. I was always wondering, why does Illustrator and Photoshop get variable font support and not InDesign? Well, now InDesign also has variable font support, which is awesome. For video and motion, we're delivering major performance improvements across the board. Everything is becoming faster. And we shipped a new Sensei-powered auto reframe feature in Premiere. I'm going to be showing that feature in a second. But I think that will be a game changer, not just for video professionals, but also for anyone that needs to reformat video to fit a square or a vertical format for social media or marketing channels. Photography. Earlier this year, we released an update to address Lightroom Classic performance with a GPU-accelerated editing support. And at Max, we continue to focus on helping our members, our Creative Cloud members, to become better photographers by bringing interactive in-app tutorials to Lightroom on the desktop, and improved speed and performance in the library module in Lightroom Classic as well. So all of these things, they make the apps more helpful, they make the apps faster, and they make the apps more do what you need to do with the specific file that you're working on. As far as 3D is concerned, the latest release of Dimension, which you will be able to also try out in the experience room afterwards, features the ability to create additional lighting setups by adding multiple lights to the object. Until now, it was only one light that you could move around like the sun around the object. Now you can add multiple lights and actually create multiple shades. We have real-time blended rendering, and also indoor match image for lighting, and updates to the transform tool inside of Dimension. And Dimension is becoming increasingly important for the other thing that I will be talking about today, which is Adobe Aero. But what I wanted to finish on this slide is Adobe Stock. We've added a functionality in Adobe Stock to find similar images, find similar functionality, to visually and dynamically filter image results. And we're going to see an example of that used in InDesign. And of course, as always, all of these performance updates and new features are available for everyone, including individuals, small businesses, schools, and enterprises. And do you recognize the image? Yeah, you've seen it coming in, right? Well, it's not the same. Somebody actually made that. I'm amazed. They gave him that image and said, "Can you do that in 3D?" Oh, yeah. OK. And there it is. I'm amazed. Anyway, let's now shift gears to our second Max theme. Create anywhere, anytime, and with anyone. When we talk about mobility for creative workflows, we see it as part of a system, inclusive of phones, tablets, laptops, and desktop computers. It's a creative system, okay? We need to be able to create on any device that we have with us at any given moment. It's all about setting creativity free. So we're expanding our offering of creative systems. But let's start with mobility. We previewed at Max last year, and we worked extensively with the creative community for the past year, and we have shipped Photoshop on the iPad for creatives at all levels of experience. So what we did is we really built the application from the ground up. We didn't reuse code. We actually rewrote the code to make it useful on tablet, on touch devices. So Photoshop on the iPad is an intuitive, more accessible entry point to Photoshop for first-time users, instead of being all, like amazed by all of these tools, and then, many people actually give up when they open Photoshop because it's too complex. So this is a fantastic entry point. But in this ecosystem that we're creating, it is also a fantastic desktop companion for professional creators, because you can open your PSDs. So what we delivered here is really a seamless cross-device experience where your PSDs, Photoshop documents, are automatically saved to the cloud and are available from the home screen every time you open it, on the iPad, on your Windows or Mac machines. And also, Photoshop is approaching its 30th anniversary, 30 years of Photoshop. But this release really kicks off a new journey for us and for Photoshop. And for Photoshop as part of a creative system. So we will release very often, and we will definitely expand capabilities of Photoshop on the tablet as we learn together with you as you are using it and as you are experiencing it and as you are requesting for features. In October, we also launched Adobe Fresco on the iPad. And basically, the drawing and illustration and painting community, the reaction was overwhelmingly positive all across the globe. So what we've done, we are really excited to share that Fresco is now also available on Windows, including Surface, the Surface Studio, I must be precise here, including, and also the Wacom Mobile Studio devices. And it includes the majority of the features and tools that are already available on the iPad. And that includes the Adobe Sensei-powered live brushes that look, feel, and act just like the real thing, the real brush. Let's now shift our focus to collaboration and start with Adobe XD. So the Max release of Adobe XD introduces features that make it the fastest way to design with teams, to collaborate with teams, and to create, collaborate, and bring vision to life with many different stakeholders. Over the past years, our monthly release cadence has really resulted in over 40 new features and enhancements. And it's the rapidly expanding functionality to address the evolving needs of designers. Again, working closely with the community. Live co-editing, and we're going to have a look at that in a second, in Adobe XD will allow multiple users to collaborate on the same exact Adobe XD document at the same time, really enabling teams to quickly and easily design user experiences together. And we also introduced a new components with states, which is a feature that enables users to create variations of an element for different scenarios. For example, a toggle button or a radio button or things like that, or more complex things like we're going to be seeing with Stephanie in a second. So for Adobe XD, we have an extensive product roadmap way beyond Max, way beyond 2019. And we will continue to create an integrated ecosystem that goes across Creative Cloud products and extends out with our partners. Many partners help us with Adobe XD to create further functionality in the form of plugins and things like that. Let's shift gears now to our final Max theme, and that is explore new frontiers, and more specifically, the ability for you to take your creativity to the next level. In the 2019 Design Census report from the AIGA and Google, the skill most critical to the future of design was adaptability to new technology and social change. So we have to be ready for anything in the future. And then there is 3D and augmented reality. There are over 1 billion AR-enabled smartphones in the hands of consumers that, unlike VR headsets, where you all solitary experience with your thing on your head, are conveniently carried in your pockets. We all have it here, okay? We can go there and use AR. It's not just about AR, VR headsets, and mobile gaming apps. AR has a growing list of real-world applications that all benefit from 3D design and texturing for optimal experience. And this is why dimension comes into play. So from marketing and branding to retail and commerce, travel and leisure, learning and art, all of these things can benefit from augmented reality. Augmented reality is expanding across all industries. So today, the creation of high-quality augmented reality content is expensive, time-consuming, and complex. Our vision is to transform this process, again, inside of an ecosystem, and enable all designers to explore what's possible with 3D and AR. And we also want to ensure that our core Creative Cloud customer have access to the best tools. And over the next year, we're going to work on further integrating Substance, which you see down below here on the slide on the right, which is a solution for creating and applying textures to 3D models into the Adobe family more fully. So you're going to see a lot more things happening with Substance. Last year, we previewed Project Aero, and at MAX 2019, we shipped it for iOS. Aero is the most intuitive way to view, build, and share immersive and interactive augmented reality experiences. No coding skills required. So whether you want to visualize a concept in space, create an interactive story, or augment a mural piece of art with digital content, the possibilities are truly endless and super fun. We're also working on a desktop version of Aero that will come soon, which will enable the creation of more complex and custom experiences. On the technology front, as I mentioned earlier, and maybe some of you who were here last year remember this slide, it's got many more things on it now. Okay? Adobe Sensei really continues to play a prominent role in our product development, and we've introduced several brand new Adobe Sensei-powered features at MAX, including Auto Reframe in Premiere Pro, Object Selection Tool in Photoshop, Live Brushes in Fresco, and enhancements to match images in Dimension, and many, many more. And we're going to have a look at them now. So it is now time for some show and tell, and my first guest on stage is Octavia Bromell, who is going to show us a little bit about Adobe Fresco and talk about her Adobe Creative Residency. Octavia.
Hi, everyone. That was a lovely warm welcome. Thank you. So my name is Octavia, but everyone calls me Tink because Octavia is a bit of a mouthful. Thanks, Mum and Dad. And I'm an illustrator based in Dorset. I use my experience of anxiety and depression to illustrate the joy in everyday life.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Oh, OK.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Rufus is just twiddling with things behind the scenes, don't worry.
Yeah, there.
There we go.
OK.
Could we put the slide back up? Is that possible? Thank you.
I love being live.
Yeah, so I am currently working on a project called The Joyful Everyday, which is the concept that you can find happiness in the minutiae of everyday life. Following a lifelong struggle with my mental health, I started drawing as therapy 3 years ago. So I feel very fortunate to be here today talking to all of you about it. So as an illustrator, I do a lot of my work digitally. It's great for when you're on the go. And I thought that I would give you a quick insight into how I kind of build an illustration. And while the topic of mental health is not the most lighthearted, as you can see, my work is bright and fun, and it brings me a lot of joy. I use the word maximalism to describe my style, and I love losing myself in vivid colors and patterns. So I am going to jump into Fresco on my iPad, which, as Rufus said, is the new painting and drawing app. So seeing as we are in the Tate Modern, I thought that I would take inspiration from one of my personal favorite paintings here, which is this lovely abstract one by Robert Delaunay. So this is a bit of a Blue Peter moment. Here's one I prepared earlier. And as Rufus has said, and as Simon has said, one of the most exciting things about Fresco is the live brushes. And if you've seen any clips online or in person of people using it, then you've probably seen the watercolors. They get a lot of screen time. And while I do actually love the watercolors, I promise, what I want to show you guys is the oil paints, because they're my personal favorite. So I'm just going to jump over here and select the oil paint detail. And I'm going to pick one of the greens that I have been using for the leaves, because this lady has got a lovely snazzy outfit, as per usual with my work, to be honest with you, but this plant pot is a little bit lackluster, I think. So I'm just going to jump straight in here and start blending the colors. I always say I'm a little bit like a kid in a candy shop when I do this. I have spent hours of my life blending colors, and it really is as satisfying as it looks to do. I can highly recommend having a go yourself. But it doesn't smell. No, it doesn't. There's none of the cleanup. I'm all for that. So I am just going to add a little squiggly detail. Again, you can really see. I could carry on blending forever, but I'm not going to. And I think I'm just about done. So as Rufus mentioned, I'm one of this year's Adobe Creative Residents. And the Creative Residency is a career Kickstarter program that Adobe runs, which enables emerging creatives to work on your passion project for a year. For me, this is the Joyful Everyday. And it also means I get to travel the world meeting wonderful people like you lovely folks. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because applications are actually open now for next year's intake. And I will never be able to express in the next 10 seconds quite how life-changing an opportunity this is. But if you feel like you would like to apply, or if you know someone that you think would benefit from achieving what they want to creatively in a year, it is truly an amazing experience. And if you do have any questions, or you want to chat about the residency, or Fresco, or art, or life in general, please come and find me after the keynote. And if you're watching online, then you can find me on Instagram at TinkOutsideTheBox. So it has been a real privilege talking to you, but I'm going to hand back over to Rufus.
Thank you, Octavia. Thank you so much. Woo. All right. All right, so I wanted to jump right into Adobe InDesign for a second, because there is one feature that is Sensei-powered that I wanted to share with you. And basically, I'm working on this layout for a pancake layout in layers. And maybe I'm not satisfied with the picture I have here. So what I can do now in InDesign 2020, Control-click on the image and say, find similar images. And this will trigger a search in Adobe Stock and find me other images that are similar to the one that I've just selected. And then I can use another image, or like add images to my layout. But it gets even better, because if I, for example, like crop the berries out here and do Control-click and find similar images, Adobe Sensei will now look for images of berries. Okay, so you can zoom into like a piece of the image and find similar images. And also notice that it even showed us video, 4K video of these berries. Okay, that's pretty cool, and that's a pretty cool example of what Adobe Sensei can do for us. Let me jump over to Photoshop, because this one tool I was talking about, the object selection tool, is truly magical. And let me just zoom into this image a little bit. Basically, it's this little guy here. And I'm going to take it, and simply by selecting this apple here now, Adobe Sensei says, it's an apple. I want to select that. And look, if I go into masking mode here, you can see that it is actually a pretty good mask. Okay. Let's just do another one just for laughs, like this. Maybe one of those passion fruits, right? Oops. Will it recognize it? Yeah, even if I select it inside of it, okay? It recognized it as a shape. Let's try it with this pepper here. Boom. Or, well, it just works, okay? It's Adobe Sensei at work. And the next thing that I want to do is talk about this collaboration features that I mentioned before. And to do that, I'm going to ask Stephanie Meyer, which is our XD evangelist here in the UK. So if you have any questions about XD, Stephanie is the right person. And we're going to be collaborating on a document. So Stephanie, you need to be plugged in, yes?
I need an HDMI
yes,
cable.
you need a connection.
Hi everyone, I'm Steph. I'm the UI UX evangelist here in the UK, and XD is our vector-based design tool in which you can also create interactive prototypes, and you can collaborate with developers or co-workers like I do with Rufus now.
Yes, so we're collaborating here, and as you can see, I can see, are we on your screen or my screen now?
We are on my screen. I can see Rufus
tricky.
here. So
yes.
Rufus is in my document and
okay.
about to mess it up, right?
About to mess it up. That's what I'm going to do now, okay?
So just as a head start, I have created this UI kit about all new features in XD. If you want to get that UI kit, it's available to download on my Behance. My label is Stephanie for XD. You can find me on social media and on Behance and download this kit for free. But,
you see, I'm already playing with colors here, okay?
I can see that. So Rufus is right here.
I'm actually co-editing. I'm co-messing on her document. But this is the point here, that I can do that while she's working on it.
That's it, exactly. Thank you very much, Rufus. So I'm going to change
I'm
that.
going to make it like lighter, like that. Okay?
Okay.
Is that better? Okay. Now,
Well.
this is co-editing.
This is co-editing, so whilst he is changing the colors, I could type something else in here.
And I'm not looking on her. She said, hello, Rufus. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can read it on mine. All right,
So
Steph,
that's
go
the
ahead.
beauty of co-editing. But let's jump into another feature, which is component states. So over here we have all the new features from Max, but we're jumping into component states. So the beauty of component states is that you don't need to create multiple artboards anymore in order to create animations. So I just go ahead with the simple interaction of a toggle. Everybody knows a toggle, right? So all I'm going to do is I just create a rectangle over here, not in that group, right here, and try to get maybe 100 by 50, try to get this right. And then I'm going to make rounded corners by just dragging these things on the side. Then I copy and paste it. You don't see it, but you see it over here in my layers panel. And I'm just going to type in here 50 as well, so it's basically a circle. So in order to make that more visible, I'm just going to make it pink, my favorite color, and increase a bit the outline so everyone can see that, right? So you see where this is going, and I just need to press this button up here, which is the plus sign, or I can also go over here and create a new component and give it a name. So let's call that toggle. And then over here, I have the different states. So by clicking on it, I can say new states. We also have hover states for web designs, but this is now an iPhone, so I just say new state, and I say on, for example, and all I'm going to do in here, I double click in that, and I'm going to move it to the other side. And when I have this selected, you see this is the default, this is the on state, and then I go into prototype mode, I click on here and say the trigger is tab, and I choose auto animate and the on state. And I'm going to do the exact same for the on one, so I'm going to select this and choose here the default state. And now when I play this thing, you can see how it just switches back and forth on one artboard. Obviously,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah? Everybody got that? Great. Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, you can create more advanced stuff, which is in here, such as this diagram down here. So when I click into it, you can see that it has 5 different states. And when I play that, then you can see by scrolling down, when I click here, this is just all one component with different states that animates this graph.
And that's what XD is all about, designing experiences. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you,
Stephanie
Rufus.
for XD
Thanks,
on
everyone.
Twitter, on Instagram, and everywhere.
Thank you.
Oh, you have a fan base. That's awesome. Couple more features that I wanted to show you, and I'm starting with Premiere. And what I wanted to show you here is this, okay? This is the video that I need to put into a vertical format. So if I play it, you see that the skier goes to left, to right, and you know, if I turn on how I want to do that, we can actually see, let me go back to the beginning of the movie, and okay, and play it again. You see, it goes out of the frame, it goes back into the frame. I would have to do that, all of that manually. But now, thanks to Adobe Sensei, I'm going to turn these off. What I can do is take this clip and say, you know what, please make auto-reframe the sequence. And here I can choose an aspect ratio, and here, in that case, I want to do it vertical, 9 by 16. Create. Adobe Sensei analyzes the image, and now when I play it, check this out. It senses what the subject is, and then allows me to do these types of cuts very, very quickly. All of these things, of course, are changeable in the effects control. If I turn these on, actually, let me just go back, select the clip here. If I go into the effects control, all of these effects are here. And if I played here, all of these are keyframes that I can change and make better if needed. One last thing that I wanted to show you is Adobe Aero. And to do that, here, I just need one last little dongle here. let me see to turn this on. Okay, we can move to my phone if it's visible in the, no? Yes, ooh, it worked. Okay, let's open Adobe Aero. And Adobe Aero is the augmented reality app. So cool. I want to create a new thing here. So first of all, I need to tell Aero what the surface is that I want to work on. So I'm going to tap here, all right, and add an object. And there's a whole bunch of starter assets. Let's take an animated asset. Oh, let's take the dinosaur roaring, okay? Okay, so it's now downloading that dinosaur. Oh, that's a small dinosaur. We want it big. Something like that, maybe? Yeah, let's move the dinosaur here, okay? Tap to place asset. And now, this dinosaur is actually here, all right? And I can animate that dinosaur. I can say, okay, let's select the dinosaur and add a behavior. The trigger is touch. That's a dangerous thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Action, animate, okay? And say, okay. And then if I go into preview, I can still move around the dinosaur and check it out, and all the shadows are here and everything. And if I tap on it, oh, scary, all right? And this is what augmented reality can do for you. It's creating, it's still there. Woo. So let me go back to my presentation just for a second, because there is one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. And I'm going to unmirror the displays and play that. So we spent a lot today talking about opportunities of creative technology. But also, let's also talk about the ramifications of that technology and what we can do to address the biggest problems facing society today. These days, whenever we go online, we often ask, what can I trust? There are more and more social media posts and news stories with false or misleading photos or videos. Sometimes it's an honest mistake. Someone shares what they think is a picture of fires in the Amazon, but then it turns out that this image is actually from somewhere completely different and from a different time even. Or sometimes there are more sinister motives for sharing fake media. The problem has gotten so bad that a shadow of doubt falls over all media. And today, work you produce and distribute in good faith can be greeted with suspicion and mistrust. And work that's meant to deceive can be accepted as truth. And complicating the problem is that all the players that are involved. There's the authors of the content. There's the makers of creative tools like us at Adobe. There's content publishers like news sites or social media platforms. And of course, the people who view the media and click on it and share it, all right? All of these players collectively have a responsibility to help solve the problem. And at Adobe, we're actually stepping up to do our part. Together with the New York Times and Twitter, we formed what we call the Content Authenticity Initiative. And we and our partners believe it's essential for people to know who created a piece of media, where it came from, and what they did with it. So we all feel more trust for a piece of work if the person who made it is willing to stand up and take credit for it. And as a legitimate creative artist, we all want to credit our work and know what's happening with it. So our initiative aims to help everyone judge what they can trust, to ensure that you get credit for your work, and also to push back that shadow of doubt that all media is under today. It will be a very long journey, but we're getting started today. So we're developing an industry-wide system that will allow creators to put their mark on the work they created, and that attribution will follow the work or the piece of media as it's being used on different platforms, posts, or stories. And this is not a mere watermark like we know from the past. It's truly a system to file your attribution, which will then be followed around the web with the help also of artificial intelligence. And we absolutely believe that on top of this, artificial intelligence and machine learning can play a role in bolstering our industry initiative. One example. Adobe Labs and the University of California, Berkeley, are collaborating on technology that detects edits to facial images. And we truly believe that this kind of work will help democratize image forensics. So with the use of deep learning, this research project is actually able to recognize altered images of faces. So the researchers created an extensive training set of images, scraping and then altering thousands of images from the internet. And in addition, an artist was hired to alter images so that this human mix was entered into the data set. And this element of human creativity actually broadened the range of alteration techniques used. And at Adobe, we believe that technology plays a huge role in our ethical discussions. And we are committed to bring this kind of technology to our toolset over time. But in the end, it is still a very human problem. Thank you, and I'm going to give it back to Simon and our wonderful guests over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rufus. Thank you, Stephanie and Octavia. Great, inspiring presentations, live demos that work seamlessly. Great job. So, one of the most highly anticipated moments of the festive season is the launch of the Christmas adverts. But you could argue they've become a little formulaic over recent years. A tearjerker of a story with a slowed-down cover version of a classic song. However, in the battle to win Christmas, storytelling, authenticity, and relatability become increasingly important and relevant. Our next guests are part of the team behind this year's McDonald's Christmas advert. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Derek Picken and Nicholas Riesler, directors Against All Odds from Passion Animation Studios, and Gareth Butters, who is part of the creative team at Leo Burnett. If you could join us on stage.
I do have a clicker. Okay, we're like a weird boy band. Okay, so we're going to talk about Christmas for McDonald's this year. I've just realized the irony that we're talking about McDonald's wearing these headsets, which is a bit odd. So I'm one of the creatives at Leo Burnett. I get to write for one of the biggest brands, McDonald's, which is awesome. And this year I was writing the Christmas ad. That is me on a creepy-ass Santa's lap. So when you think of Christmas, you don't automatically think of McDonald's as the classic Christmas fare. But the thing is, it's not that we're not part of the party. In fact, 5 million people a day go through the doors every single day during the festive period, which is incredible amount of people. So the people are there, but we had a bit of a challenge a few years back on what product you could hang the Christmas hat on for McDonald's. And to be honest, it was only until 2017 that a wonderful team that I work with, Mark and Rob, found a product that we'd never thought of before, and it was staring us in the face. And Mark and Rob came up with this idea. I was trying to find a picture of Mark and Rob, but they don't exist on the internet somehow. So I'm just going to use this one for now. So this is Mark and Rob. Sorry, boys. It's not like this is being live streamed. So Mark and Rob found a product, which is the humble carrot stick. And whereas we see it as the healthy snack that you get in a Happy Meal box, they saw it as the thing that kids leave out on Christmas Eve, along with the mince pies and the brandy. And so, huzzah, reindeer treats were born, I guess is the best term. And they worked on an advert in 2017, directed by James Rouse, and it was this charming tale of the family, and it introduced carrot sticks as the reindeer treats, and this whole campaign, which is, Are You Reindeer Ready? And it was a brilliant success. So much so that in 2018, it being so good that they had to revisit this area. And this time it landed with James and Rob. There are actually loads of photos of James and Rob available. This just seemed fair. So James and Rob, again working with James Rouse, took a more magical theme and had an advert that had the big man himself, Father Christmas, and his very, very hungry reindeer, and reindeer treats were at the central point of it again. And unfortunately, that was a really big success. So in 2019, it landed on my lap to take Reindeer Ready into its third year, which for a burger joint, having carrot sticks at the heart of it seemed incredible, but it's the third year. And I wanted to write this time about something that I could relate to. I think it's easier to find a story that is close to you. And I hoped that this would be relatable to anybody else that has siblings or kids. And I've got a fetish of showing photos of me as a child, somehow. So I grew up with two older sisters, and like when they were in their mid-teens, and I was just a kid, the way that we embraced the magic of Christmas was separated because they had that sort of, they knew the secret about Christmas, and obviously I was still captured in it. So I wanted to take that into this year's theme and sort of touch on the family element that we had from the first year and the magic element of the second year and sort of combine them into what we wrote. So Ellie was born from this, and Ellie's your typical 7-year-old, wide-eyed and goofy teethed, and she's like a bundle of the spirit of Christmas. And all she wants to do is share that joy of Christmas with her elder sister, Jenny. And unfortunately, Jenny is your typical teenager. So she's like this weird mash of hormones and angst, and any magic of Christmas has sort of worn away over the years as you get into that awkward age. So even though in the story I wrote it initially about Ellie, you have this cute reindeer, Archie, who's the big distraction of the piece, but then you've got Dad, who's kind of important role, but it's more about Jenny and how she can rediscover the feeling, the joy of Christmas, and share a moment of make-believe with her younger sister, Ellie. So we wrote the script, and that was like the 25th script, I think, that we wrote for that one. And to really capture or give justice to a 7-year-old's imagination, we wanted to use animation. And once we got to the point where we knew we wanted to do animation, we had to go and present to the clients, who are wonderful, wonderful clients. I'm not just saying that because they're in the crowd. But they were a bit wary at first. It's not the usual go-to for McDonald's, but they fell in love with the script, and it was almost like a bit of a leap of faith. Animation is quite a long process, which the boys will talk to you in detail soon. But yeah, they gave us the go-ahead, and we thumbs up to animation. And I think we had 3 or 4 different animation production houses that came to us for the pitches. But there was one clear winner that just nailed it. They weren't available. But it was these guys, Against All Odds, Passion Pictures. And when we first started talking to them, they got the story. And I mean, their reel is impeccable. It's beautiful. And I think once we started working with Derek and Nicholas, it was kind of full steam ahead into production.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you can have that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's making us blush.
Stop it.
it was about 1:30 was the format, and it was quite a heartfelt story. There was a lot of emotion in it, so that takes time on screen. I mean, basically, when we approach these things up front, we need to be collaborative and figure out the basics, which is the story, and get that down as rudimentary as possible before executing it in 3D, which was the ultimate goal. The other thing is it was broken into 2 worlds. So animation was relevant because it is based in Ellie, her imagination. So animation was very relevant. And then it transitions back to live action, again, directed by James Rels.
Yep, 3rd year in a row. Still all right.
Yeah, when approaching a film, we always do an animatic. That's common fare, but we spend a lot of time, and we basically try to make the whole film in rough drawn 2D. So
I like the way you say rough. I mean, this was beautiful.
Yeah, well, you'll get to see it in a second. But it's a really good tool because you can redraw quickly and you can try things out and you can make sure that the story works in the time you have and you get the impact that you can. And you guys can get to see it, client can get to see it, so we're all on board once we move ahead. And this is where we landed on that one.
Clickety-top, clickety-pop. Jenny!
What?
Jenny, will you play reindeers with me?
No, you're not a reindeer. Grow up.
Come on. Oops. Ta-da! Dad, we need more reindeer treats.
Yeah, there's still time. Jenny, we're just popping out for a bit.
Dad, I'm coming.
Thank you. 2 bags of reindeer treats.
What about Albie?
Yeah, Albie.
You know, Dad, I think reindeer like to share nuggets too. Don't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think you're right. But then home before the other reindeer get here.
That's your idea of rough drawing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Badass at picture.
Thank you. And Bob's your uncle. So at this stage, we are ready to move on. We got the story, that's all good. So now we have to fill the story with content. And the first thing was characters. It was kind of an interesting process this time around because we need to hook up to real people in the end. And we didn't have the cast when we started the design process, which is a bit unusual.
Yeah.
But we started just to find a general style. So we had a bunch of designers on it, and they started just designing away, different styles, different approaches. And then finally we found the artist that we felt captured a style that we thought we could, felt kind of not too overly cutesy child cartoon, had some sort of grown-up aspects to it, and could translate into recognizable people and the actual cast. And at this point, when we had this beautiful family, we actually got the real cast and the real people, so we could start adapting that style to them, which was great. It's a nice treat to have actual good reference. You can pick up little things.
The little girl, Iris, who plays Ellie,
yes, she
looks
fantastic.
like a cartoon. She's got like the sticky-out ears and the gappy teeth. And
Yeah.
it's perfect.
There's a lot you can work with there.
Yeah, she was almost animated to begin with. And then, so this is the finished sort of 2D style, and then we transformed them into the 3D characters so we could actually get to act in our film. And also, since we had the real actor, we could bring them in and film them and pick up on little facial expressions and make sure that even though she's not, I mean, our animated character is not a caricature of that character, you still have clear sort of cues so you'll recognize them when you go into the live action world. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
That's word building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
So
Word.
it should be world building. So Ellie and her family...
Not like we haven't rehearsed it.
needed a place to live, and that's always an interesting thing because we really wanted this place to be relatable, I think.
Yeah, well, whenever we do anything McDonald's, we try and get this British realism into it, and it was quite important for us that the environment was sort of, again, relatable to the story and to being very sort of British specific.
Really nice for us.
An Australian and a Swedish man.
Yeah, exactly. And quite often our clients want us to be, the world to be aspirational and
Catalog house.
Catalog house, exactly. And this time it was completely opposite. Just throw as much crap in there as you can to feel like a real house.
Mess is good.
Yeah, and it's really nice.
So this next slide is sort of an inspiration where we were trying to find a way of adapting those things and stylizing them that meshed well really with the character design and had a sort of crafty feel to it. So we looked at miniatures as inspiration and the sort of details and blemishes and quirks that go into that, and we thought that would be.
There was one point we were actually going to do.
Yeah, we're hoping to maybe do an actual model build of the sets, but then we realized not allowed for that.
Time was against us. So
we did the best we could.
We take
It's great.
yeah.
It's fun, man.
We take all that and basically flesh out our environments, and these are sort of key scenes and environments that we paint up, sort of get as much stuff as we can in there to sort of tell the story of this family. And then we take that a step further and try and find the mood, the light, and how that can enhance the story, hit on emotional beats, and also mesh with the live action in the end. So there was a sense of magic we wanted to get into this, and
even there's a point in the film where Archie the Reindeer comes in, and the colours change very subtly, and like it just lifts the mood because it's in quite a dark place for Ellie at this point.
Yeah.
But it's beautifully done.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
And even though it's just us sitting up here, we weren't completely alone. This is maybe the most important slide. This is all the people who actually worked to realize this film.
So we had a lot of people putting in a lot of hours and a lot of love.
Yes.
And this was our team. I mean, this is just the CG animation team. So there was live action and a lot of.
Yeah, there was a lot more.
And a lot of people on your end as well. And
but everyone did an awesome job, and here is the fruits of our labor.
Yes.
Clippity-clop, clickety-top, clickety-pop. Jenny!
What?
Jenny, will you play reindeers with me?
No, you're not a reindeer. Grow up.
Dad, we need more reindeer trees.
Oh, there's still time.
Jenny, we're just popping out for a bit.
Dad, I'm coming.
Here's our reindeer trees.
What about Archie?
Ah, Archie.
You know, Dad, us reindeers like McNuggets too. Don't we?
Do you know what? I think you might be right. But then I'll, before the other reindeer get here.
Yeah.
Can we take the stools?
Thank you so much, guys. It's really storytelling at its best. Thank you so much for giving us some insight into the end product that we all see on TV. Definitely one of the ads that's winning Christmas. Thank you so much. Before we move on to our final speaker, just a reminder to keep your tweets and posts coming. The hashtag is Max Creativity Tour. We are really loving seeing all your comments. So, tonight's final guest speaker is an award-winning entrepreneur and founder of global reach YouTube channel SBTV. Having received an MBE for his services to music, there aren't many people of 29 years old that can flaunt such a decorated CV. He can now be found on the Times Young Power list, has released his own book, Self-Belief, The Vision, which subsequently became a #1 bestseller, and has worked with brands including Kurt Geiger and Primark. Boasting an expanding business portfolio and a solid reputation that sees him inspiring a new wave of digital entrepreneurialism, it's my pleasure to announce to the stage Jamal Edwards MBE. Joining Jamal on stage will be Claire Darley, Adobe's Vice President of Digital Media. And as we get things set up on stage, let's roll the video.
What are you doing filming me? Jamal!
My stamina's healthy, so it's music, no more beating the shows. Not just in it for the rest. Now I'm living them correct here, sitting in the
SB, if you need a bar, then get me.
Educate yourself, see it's not the money you make. It's compulsory, some are calling it poetry. SBTV.
But you never catch me. Explosive. Style, don't think I'm a blow. I get therapy now. SBTV.
Rise above, be like a train. Choo choo, go hard, go faster. Stack peas every day. I rise above, be like a tractor.
Woo! Man, how cool was that?
Hello, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, nice to see you.
Welcome. Seriously, man, that's like one of the coolest videos ever. And I just love the bit about you getting your camcorder at 15. I love the fact that he's going to be filming us now as well. So we're going to talk about content. I mean, we'll talk about social influence.
Always recording.
Is this just like live? You're like live streaming. You know, there's a camera over there, we're on. So yeah, people here, creative audience, I hope you've enjoyed some of the stories that we've heard
it's been amazing.
today.
It's been inspiring. I know like one of the questions is like what inspires you, that like seeing all the work and stuff and the opportunities that people can do with the programs is like speaking to my mate, I was like, oh my God, it's like I'm already so busy, I'm just gonna like delve into and do even
Brilliant.
more. Yeah.
Rufus, you've got a new evangelist on the block. We'll have you up on stage next year showing us how to do some of it. Can you just take us back? Because, you know, as Simon said, you know, really inspirational story. You're only goddamn 29, which is, you know, infuriating, but absolutely brilliant. So take us back from the moment that you got that camcorder until Google put you on one of their ads and everything blew up.
Yeah, so it started in my area. I was filming, I think YouTube was about a year old, and I thought like my friends wanted to be on the big platforms, but they wasn't being represented on mainstream media, so I thought, let me create a platform. I found YouTube, and then I started uploading onto there. But in the early days, I didn't have like marketing budgets to do stuff, so I was just trying to find like rogue ways of like promoting my videos. So like there was times where I found the master computer in my school, and I basically hacked it and turned every PC to SBTV. That did get a lot of viewers, and then after that, I realized I was going to get kicked out.
Expelled?
Yeah. I then got put into the head teacher's room, and then I found the printer, and then I started printing out all the SBTV leaflets, taking that out into the high street and giving that out. And I thought, like, if I made the content, the main thing for me is like making the content good. So then, if a random viewer did come across it, that from the leaflets that I used to hand out, it was about how do I capture the audience and keep them on. And that was the last straw. So then after that, I then stopped doing stuff in school, and then Westfield opened, and I remember going to the Apple store and changing all the Apple iMacs to SBTV. And I remember people used to walk into there and comment on my videos and say, oh, I discovered this brilliant channel when I saw it on the Apple iMac, and I built an audience off the back of doing that. Yeah.
You heard it here.
And then after a little while, I couldn't carry on doing stuff like that.
I got to ask you, because you talk a lot about your mum, right? So what did she say when you got pulled into the principal's office?
She was like, stop doing SBTV. Yeah, it was. But I think when the Google Chrome advert came out and her friends started calling and saying, your son's on TV, she's like, oh yeah, you can carry on now. And that was it sort of like made my journey a little bit more. But I had to apply for a YouTube revenue partnership, and I got denied about 3 times before I actually made that Google Chrome advert. But it was just like, I just thought I was in a place where music wasn't really on YouTube. In the early days, it was a lot of funny content.
I think you changed that, right? I mean, you know, SBTV, arguably the best platform for finding raw, new music. At the time, as far as I can remember it, YouTube was all,
you know, goofy videos and
Charlie
really
bit my finger videos.
Charlie
and
bit
that.
my finger. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Still like that. Though.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still good. But I saw a gap in the market, and it was a lot of like emailing YouTube, turning up outside YouTube, and just saying, "Why? Come on, give me a partnership, please." Like I just want to be able to provide.
And what did they
platform.
want, and how did you persevere?
I think what it was just trying to get as much views as possible. But because I wasn't earning any money from YouTube, that's when I had to work in Top Man. So I was working in Top Man for about 5 years. And again, my parents were like, it's a sustainable income. I used to come home with my YouTube check and I was like, yeah, right, what is it going to be like next month? So the challenge for me was to match my YouTube checks to my Top Man checks. So while I was doing college and doing that, I used to like run around after school, film, and then basically try, I think it was like I got £500 in a month. So I was like, all right, cool, how many videos do I have to do to hit £500 a month? And then once I did that, I then went home and I was like, look, it's matching, please let me leave Top Man. And
I was going to ask you about this, more from, because again, creative audience and everyone's interested in the creative process. And I got to say, my son's in the audience today, so also a creative. You know, it's sort of scary as a parent when your kid's doing something a little sort of out there, but brilliant, by the way, brilliant. Joe. You know, we talk a lot about side hustles, and I always think when you're a creative, actually, is Top Man the side hustle? Because actually you're a creator, or was doing SBTV the side hustle? And how did you mentally think about that?
I think Top Man was definitely my side hustle, because I used all the money that I made in there to get better camera equipment, to get sound, lights, and I feel like that helped me. I think also as a person, I had to go up to random people and ask them for a store card. It's like one of the most frightening things ever. And that sort of helped like me build, sort of talking to people and building up, because the scary thing about the internet is I was a kid, I was just in my room, I was stuck in tutorials, and I never really used to go out in the outside world. And Top Man sort of opened me up a little bit more, which was a blessing. So yeah, Top Man was definitely my side hustle.
Good, amazing, and I love that you made the leap. You know, we do a lot of work with kids and schools. You saw the stuff about the Shakespeare Company earlier, and Sam is in the audience who made that partnership. Really, really big and important for us. We talk to kids about making the leap and really trying to use creativity as a force for change. I think Rufus mentioned it earlier as well, which is in a world of advancing technology and AI, creativity is one of those things that can't be replaced. And you know, you've always been at the forefront of cool content.
I try.
Yeah, I know. So when he arrived earlier, he's literally videoing as we're showing around, and you're posting immediately. You know, what is it that sort of inspires you, or what do you find, you know, from a content point of view? What's keeping you current? I
think what inspires me is just taking. I think my friends inspire me a lot, but also I try and balance out the internet. I used to spend too much time on the internet, and now I balance out and actually go out into the real world and have real life experiences. I think that's so important for me, because when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, I used to just live on the internet, and it wasn't very healthy. So I think like getting out into the world and going to different events, that's what inspires me, definitely, 100%.
And you heard Octavia speak earlier about sort of anxiety and that fueling her creativity. I guess if you know, quite introverted and spending quite a lot of time having to come out, like you said, at Top Man and talking to people about store cards. Is that a grounding for coming on stage and talking in front of people? You know, and how do you deal with that kind of shift? How do you prepare yourself?
I think one of my main things at the moment is health as well, and I try, as much as I'm insanely busy, I try and take a break. So recently I set up Delve, which is like a youth community project, which I've been working in my area, and I sort of took a bit of a step back from SB, because relentlessly for the past like 10 years or so, I never really had a holiday. I was just constantly filming, and it was affecting like my mental health, and I needed a bit of a break. So how I dealt with that is I literally stepped back and focused on a different project, and that was quite difficult for me to do, but it helped in the long run.
And it's, I mean, for me, you know, just, you know, researching you ahead of this, just great to see you talking about it. You know, you have such reach and such power with your words and with your actions. So you talking about that, I think, is just, you know, game changing, you know, for everybody to be able to go, yeah, I can talk about it too. So, well, without sounding patronizing, well done. It means a lot. So you've just talked about like over 10 years in SBTV, you're still only 29. we're just about to start, a new decade. What do you think is going to happen? From a content, from a creativity, from a Jamal Edwards point of view.
2020
10
vision.
years. That's
Yeah, I know. 2020 vision for me is I think it's just a new decade. I'm very excited. Within like the urban music scene, people are now getting #1s, they're getting top 10 albums. And I find even in the internet is making a shift as well, like different technologies of how to improve your business. So I find the next 10 years for me are very exciting. And the biggest thing for me is collaboration. And I feel like I've done collaboration in the past, but next year I'm planning to do even more collaboration. I've got like a project with the VNAs that I'm talking to them about, British Library, and like working with brands, I'm trying to find out how to do it in an authentic way. So for me, I've been banging on about self-belief for the past 10 years. I'll still bang on about that, but I'll add collaboration of it as well.
Good. I really like that. I think, everything that you've heard today and everything that we talk to creatives about, it is becoming a hugely collaborative process. And, seeing some of the people, on that video that you've collaborated with already, I can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah,
I hope it's going to be Adobe, actually. So, definitely, we were talking about the Jamal Edwards Delve, project, and we'd love to support you with that. And, again, getting the tools into the hands of some of the people you're working with, it would be amazing.
Yeah, because one of the videos, the HSBC one.
We're going to show it in a second.
Is a collaboration that I did with them, and they got in touch with me, and I thought, it's a bank. Like, I think loads of people say, I don't work with a bank. I was like, no, but you can try and do it in a creative way. And they was quite open. They was like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to I want to ride my bike around Acton, where I grew up. I want to have a kid that used to represent me, and I also want to have a bit of like a poem. And this was the video that I made.
I think Jamal has just stolen my line, so why don't we...
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, we should take a look at it. Let's run the video.
Sorry.
They'll say it's impossible. The teachers will say that you lack concentration. But once you discover your passion, you'll never lack focus again. You can't be scared of failure. Failure is not trying. No matter what you do, there will always be doubters. Just don't become one of them. Surround yourself with believers. Some of the strongest voices in your life are already around you. They'll be the ones who'll have your back when times are hard. And when you don't know which road to take, reach out to those who have always been there. Be patient. Find opportunity in everything. It's all about self-belief. You never know what small gift could change your life. Stay humble. Keep your feet on the ground. There are those who look at things and ask, why? I say, dream of things that never were and ask, why not? Your ambition is possible.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that. There's so many quotes in there. I love the surround yourself with believers. I think that's a really important thing. And the fact that the people closest to you, they're already there. They're already there. You've obviously had a lot of people believing in you over the years. What difference has it made to you, and how do you pay that forward in terms of your work?
I think it just adds a whole different dimension to like people saying like you can do it. And with the kids that I work at my youth centres, I've set up 4 in Acton. That's the message I always push. So a kid came up to me and said they wanted to be a mechanic. I had a conversation with Mercedes-Benz vans to get them an apprenticeship, and it's just like connecting the dots. And I find like when I was 14, I was very fortunate to have been on a film workshop, which then inspired me to go out and then do filming. And I find like with the youth just in general, the young people in general in the UK, sometimes it gets lost and they can't realise their potential. So I find like for the past 2 years, I've been giving back a lot. I'm trying to get them to have different experiences, even from little experiences. Like we took a group of the girls to ice skating in Queensway. Like they normally wouldn't be able to afford it or go. But little things like that just sort of just make people happy, I feel. And yeah, that's what I try and do.
That's awesome. What was the best piece of advice anyone ever gave you when you were starting out?
I wrote it down. It was use the tools you have. I remember going into a room and I was filming Kelly Rowland, and it was like my first interview outside of the underground scene. And MTV was in there, and they had massive cameras like Z1s, and I had like my little Panasonic. I was like, oh, I'm not walking in that room. They had big lights, and my friend was like, it doesn't matter about like having these big equipment. Just use what you have to your ability. And I find that helps me a lot because I didn't. I used to film on my phone. Obviously now the phones are much more high tech. But I tell a lot of young people, just use what you have. Don't have to aspire to get like the latest equipment, and don't be scared to try new things. But yeah, I think that was one of the best pieces of advice I got.
I think that's awesome. Okay, so final question, unless I've missed something that you're desperate to tell me.
I wrote something like about, I saw a question on the thing which was about like how do you make shareable like content and like images and stuff. And one thing that I learned about my videos was like there's 5 factors. I think one is inspiring, one is nostalgic, one is scary, one is not covered by mainstream media, and the other one is entertaining and funny. And I was thinking like when I was making content in the early days, I was always trying to hit not covered by mainstream media and entertaining. And I find that's what helped my content get out there a lot quicker, except for the ways that I was doing rogue marketing.
Oh no, I love the rogue marketing as well.
And then I found like even when you're sharing images as well, I always try and look at those factors to try and think, how can I get retweets or how can I get shares or likes? And I thought that was quite an interesting
we talk
piece.
about storytelling because it's like the most powerful human connector that we have, and I think what you're describing is that, you know, it's that ability to tell a story with an image or with a movie or something, and it creates, you know, some sort of emotional connection, whether it's funny, whether it's, say, poignant, nostalgic, that kind of thing.
Like that McDonald's advert, all my mates was like, wow, that was sick.
Did you? Were you having a little bit? I know we
it
were
was like,
too.
yeah, that's proper.
Yeah. You have to get into some hand-drawn animation now. That's the next one.
It was good.
All right, so wrapping up, I just want to say massive thank you. You know, we're really proud to have you here. You know, Adobe's mission is to try and inspire creativity for all. You are definitely somebody who has given a voice and given a platform to a lot of people that wouldn't have had the ability to do that. Any last piece of advice? You've given some great words of wisdom, but, you know, to this creative audience, anything?
I think like one of the big things for me is like, and what I've heard here is diversion and inclusivity. And one thing that I wrote, just being here in an audience and just hearing people's stories is like, I think creativity for all. Obviously, I think if we can do obviously I know you do a lot of stuff with enterprise and schools, but a program for young people, some who might not be able to like afford some of the software. And I know we're having chats already, but like when I was about 14, 15, I might not have been able to afford like the latest Creative Cloud or something like that. But there's kids out there on the estates that I work with that are absolutely like untold in like the amount of creativity that they have, and it's trying to figure out how we bridge that gap.
And you know what? Sometimes it's just getting our story out. We give Adobe Spark free of charge to every school kid everywhere around the world, and you know, I don't suppose many people here who've got kids actually even know that. So, you know, we need some help actually getting that message out too. So, because sometimes they, you know, they might graduate onto Creative Cloud, but they actually want to start with something easy they can use from their phone. And we just need to tell more people, because giving the right tools can just, say, create that little change in people. So,
yeah, access to information. Hopefully we can partner up and do some game-changing stuff.
No, I'd love that. Last one, can we get a selfie?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, man. Your phone.
I want to take a video as well, actually.
Oh, a video. Okay, you've got to get this crowd here. You might need to, like...
What's happening? Right, Adobe right now. Sick. That's definitely going on my story. Wait, let's do it. Yeah, sweet.
Thank you, man.
That's
Cheers.
one. Thank you.
All right.
That's one.
Thanks. That was banging.
Thank you so much. Come on, let's have one big round of applause for Jamal Edwards. Wow. So that's the end of tonight's formal proceedings. What an incredible evening. I really do hope that you're all feeling really inspired. For everybody here in London, the evening does not end. please do visit the creative space. We've got loads of food, loads of drink. Make your way through the door on that side of the room, not the back, to that side of the room. Please do stay and join us and enjoy the activations that are out there. For everybody else, thank you for joining us this evening online. Thank you to all of our fantastic speakers for some thought-provoking and inspiring sessions. And thanks to all of you in the room, again online, for spending time with us this evening. We hope to see as many of you as possible in Lisbon in June for MAX Europe. But please do have a safe journey home, and good night. Thank you.